is a day of gratitude, respect, and celebration. It's Teachers' Day in India, a day we honor not just the profession, but the people who shape minds and futures. September 5th marks the birthday of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, philosopher, teacher, and former President of India, whose life reminds us that teaching is not just a job, it's a calling. And it's on this meaningful day that we launch the very first episode of The Teacher's Lounge, a space where stories from educators far and near come alive. I'm your host, Indrani. Welcome everyone to the Teacher's Lounge. Today, we begin with someone whose energy could light up an entire staff room and whose journey bridges classrooms, boardrooms, and golf courses with equal grace. Meet Mrs. Sushmita Ghosh, currently based in Quebec, Montreal. She is a dynamic educator turned corporate professional with a heart that still beats for her teaching days. With 12 years of experience teaching English language and literature to grades 9 through 12, Sushmita didn't teach syntax and Shakespeare. She connected with each student with equal intention and attention. She's crossed many milestones, but ask her what she cherishes the most is the growth she experienced as a teacher. Because, as she puts it, teaching is a two-way street. So, without much ado, let's dive straight into her story, her reflections, and the spark that still connects her to the world of learning and laughter. Welcome, Sushmita, to the Teacher's Lounge.
Thank you, Indrani. That was the most prolific introduction. Thank you very, very much. A very happy Teachers' Day to all teachers, whoever your teacher is, not just your school teacher, your parents, your friends. A very, very happy Teachers' Day to all of us. You're right. I've crossed many milestones. In fact, my giving up teaching was not planned. It happened in a moment. But from day one of the time that I stepped into my corporate life, if there is one, tool that I carried in my toolbox, is my teaching days, what I learned being in the classroom with the children. So You have very, very well put. Well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation.
Great, great. So now it's time to get to the heart of it all. Let's begin our Teacher's Lounge quick five. 5 questions, coffee in hand, on this quiet Saturday morning in Quebec. So, as such, it's always nice to know whether my guests began their journey in teaching or took a different path first. So, before the ringing of school bells became your daily rhythm, before lesson plans and late night grading, what was the very first flicker that drew you into teaching? As such, was it a quiet pull, a single defining moment, or a series of little nudges that turned into a calling?
Indra, it's a very interesting question. If I will honestly look back at who I am essentially at the core, at the core, I am an extremely people-loving person, extrovert, happy to share, selfless in my giving. That's how I've always been. So, whether my teaching journey was a planned decision or it happened because I got married, I came to Jamshedpur, and, in the mid-90s, Jamshedpur had limited opportunities within itself. So therefore, and I was a postgraduate in English literature, so therefore that transition into what can I do, can I then become a teacher, became my decision. But having said that, I didn't enter the classroom, or I didn't enter the portals of the school knowing all the tricks, the trades, the skills of being a good teacher. I didn't know the difference between a lesson planning book or day-to-day planning of life, etc. I didn't know. I was all of 25, but it became such an organic journey, and it started simply because I had the knowledge of the language, that is number one,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the love of people and children. And when these two, it was a beautiful marriage made in heaven. So they were not small bits and pieces that led to me becoming a teacher. It was these two tremendous tools in my toolbox that unified at the right time. And I entered the portals of this amazing school in Jamshedpur, and I went on to teach for 12 long years.
Great. So, when you look back at your life's journey, how has that decision of stepping into a classroom for the first time quietly shaped the person you are today?
I entered the portal, and the first 3, 4, 5 months, I was teaching in the middle school in standards 5 and 6. Then the first key learning is when you enter a classroom, your entire intent and purpose is to explain
Mm.
complex ideas in simple and engaging ways. And whatever profession you are, whichever grade you're teaching, your purpose is always how to get your ideas, your understanding across to your audience, however complex it is, in simple, engaging ways. So that is my first key learning entering the classroom, which I have carried on till now.
And as such, every story has its plot twist. And yours came when you traded chalk for conference calls and staff rooms for boardrooms. So, in
Yeah.
the great journey, just tell me one thing. In the classroom, as such, surprises come in all shapes and sizes, right? Sometimes those surprises are heartwarming, sometimes they are challenging. But then I want you to take us to that one moment in your teaching journey that wasn't in the textbook, neither in the syllabus, nor in the lesson plans, a moment that demanded more than subject knowledge, which you had because you were a graduate in English literature and language. So, how did you navigate that particular moment, not just as a teacher, but as a person? And what lasting lesson did it leave behind for you?
Great question. And this is one memory that is very precious to me. I wouldn't say that it is life lesson, but it's very, very heartwarming and precious. So
Mhm.
it's in my first year of teaching. And again, I am in my early 20s, mid 20s then. And within 6 months of my career, I was asked to teach English in high school.
Mhm.
I entered the classroom, and it's my first day in the class, and the children are true to their age, loud, noisy, very, very talkative, lost in their own world. But me, I thought that I demand respect, I demand control because I am the teacher. I have the power of the chair. And
Yeah.
I enter into the classroom.
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't happen. I
Mhm.
don't get it. Because I look inexperienced and young. B, the children themselves are all 15, 16 years old. They knew that I was new. And I guess, Indrani, the hesitation, the nervousness was all written on my face when
Yeah.
I entered the class.
Yeah.
And they just wouldn't listen to me. I tried all the tricks of the trade. I tried to wish them, calm them, control them. But no, it was almost borderline me feeling that I'm getting ragged in the class. I couldn't manage it. I walked out of the class, and just right next to the class is the vice principal's office. And
Mhm.
the vice principal then was a very nice lady, very, very nice, mature lady. I walked into her room, and I told her that, ma'am, it's really a little too overwhelming for me.
Mhm.
So she said, don't worry, I'll get into the class with you. She comes into the class, and obviously, now that the vice principal has entered the class, there is suddenly absolute silence, pin drop silence. And she is able to demand that respect, which I thought I would be able to, but yeah. So then she explained to the then 15, 16-year-olds in a very, very calm, controlled voice. Your teacher can be your friend, always. But your teacher is never your pal that you will take her for granted. No. She's here to teach you. She's here to learn from you. She's here to explain to you. But don't override that. It is going to be your loss. It was a very simple sentence, Indrani, if you will think.
It is.
But of course, the class became silent. I was able to take my class. It went on very, very well. Moving forward, those were some of my favorite students who I'm still connected with. But some great lessons. Lesson number one, it is so important to be assertive and not aggressive. That is number one. Number two is, it has taught me that how and where we should softly but firmly draw a line and never let anyone override you. So these are the very warm lessons that I have from my teaching journey, which I think I have carried through the 12 years. And interestingly enough, if I carried this in my heart and mind, or whether it was getting manifested through my actions, I went on to becoming quite a popular teacher, if you will recall.
Of course.
That, yeah, the journey was amazing.
And and sometimes it's not the big and dramatic events, it's the tiny, the invisible things that shape a teacher's legacy, right? And that's what children remember. And I think you left sometimes in 2006 or 5.
2006, late 2006, because I joined
Late
the
2006.
corporate in early 2007.
And it's extremely rewarding when you see children, reaching out to you and wishing you on Teachers' Day, right?
It's a very humbling experience, wherever in the world you may be, and whatever job you may be doing.
Correct.
Sometimes it happens. I am so far away now, and with such great time zone differences, and you've lived so long in the West. Life is not easy here. It's a little difficult, and I have currently I have a very demanding job. But then on a 5th September morning, I pick up my phone and then I see text messages,
Greetings,
messages on social media,
absolutely,
greeting me, thanking me. It makes me feel happy, but more than happy, I think it humbles me a lot.
Right.
That it's over 15 years that I have quit teaching. Those children who are wishing me, they themselves are probably parents now.
Of course. Of course, parents must be so busy, and yet finding time to greet teachers itself speaks a lot about the journey. So if we could sneak into your classroom on any random day, that is 12 years back, right? There would probably be one thing that always stood out, maybe a little ritual or a practice or a habit or a unique way of connecting with your students that was definitely yours only, right? So what was that small and powerful thing that you feel that children will still remember, they still remember?
Well, to begin with, it was standard 11. I entered the class is empty.
Oh.
Okay, the class is empty. There is no one there. And within a couple of minutes, I see children huffing and puffing and running back into the class. So where were you? Why is the class empty? Oh, teacher, we were in the playground, we were in the canteen, etc., etc. But we didn't want to miss the English class. And so we are running back. So again, a ray of hope that maybe I'm doing things right. Therefore, kids are running back to the class. Number two, what did I do? I think my style in the class has always been more storytelling. I was teaching all different kinds of sections in the high school. And somehow in the education pattern or the parenting pattern in India, by the time children are reaching high school, their focus is set towards a certain, a line, a trade, a craft, a journey. And everything else takes the backseat there.
Mhm.
So if I am teaching a science section, there are chances that the children wouldn't connect because their focus at that point in time are the STEM subjects.
Yes.
No questions asked about their focus because after all, it is that journey with which they're going to make their life.
Mhm.
Therefore, for me to create a place in their academics or in their mind, teaching a subject that is going to be a support function for them wasn't always a very easy task. But if I would go into the class and jump deep into Shakespeare and Wordsworth and Yeats, I would lose them. For sure, I would lose them. So therefore, I think my unique style was more storytelling, more understanding the diverse needs and personalities, and learning speed in the class. And again, on that note, I was teaching in the 11th standard in the science section, and I was teaching, I guess it was Wordsworth, I forget. And one of the students who was shining bright now, he had tears rolling down his eyes.
Wow.
Because he was so lost in what I was teaching. He was so engaged in what I was teaching. My God, those are such treasures.
Yeah.
And imagine
Yeah.
when on a 5th September morning, I get a message from him thanking me for his school years and that he still remembers me for my classes. And it is such an experience. You actually do not experience that kind of high ever in a corporate world.
Yeah. So if your teaching style came with its own tagline, the kind that would be printed under your name, for example, Sushmita Ghosh, the trendsetter. That's a name I'm giving, right? So what would it say? Tagline printed under your name, Sushmita Ghosh.
What would I say? I would say
A
that,
storyteller.
yeah, a storyteller.
So that's the kind of magic you created. And that's how the student was in tears. Okay.
And also, probably uh, you just do not engage with the children in the classroom alone.
Mm.
They are there with you 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, through their joys, their sorrows, their issues. The classroom is 1/4 of being a teacher.
Yes.
It is your presence in the school, starting from the assembly line.
Till
How
dismissal.
you greet them, how you meet them, how you probably observe their little changes.
Mm.
Some girl comes with a little different haircut and you observe that and you make a comment on that, or you give a pat on the back. All of that goes on to how engaged they are with you in the classroom.
True. It's a different world altogether.
It's a different world. Once you enter through the gates, and I remember those days, we would enter and we had to sign on a register.
Mm.
At 7:45, you sign on the register
Yeah.
and then you go and stand in the assembly line. And we were all class teachers, so we had to get the line straight, sometimes stand at the back of the line,
We could,
front of the line.
right. And we could never afford to be a latecomer, right? We never
We
wanted a
couldn't.
line or a reminder from the principal.
So the classroom came after. It is the first thing that you do when you meet them. And we were all homeroom teachers, so we had to get into the class and take the attendance. And when you're taking the attendance, you're looking up at them and sharing a smile, doing a small talk. So all of that. And then after that first 10 minutes, when you open the book, you already have the kids engaged. So then getting across to them makes it much easier.
But there are moments when a lesson plan or maybe an interesting class or a conversation is not enough, especially when a student needs something that cannot be found in a textbook or in a conversation. And every teacher has faced those moments, right? Moments wherein a student is like drifting or hurting or quietly battling something unseen, which is evident from the body language, evident from the expression, but they do not know how to define it. So, how do you hold space for such students who struggle emotionally or academically? Whether it was through academic support or emotional care, but was there a way wherein you try to let them know that, hey, you're not alone?
I'll be very honest to my heart. My awareness then around subjects such as this
Mm,
was around the fact that I am a very warm, helpful people's person.
mm,
Today, with all of the awareness, education around other needs of children, I am more equipped, I'm better equipped. Then I would facilitate, coach, and support them with who I am as a person. Was it enough? Could I have done more? Of course, I could have done more. Today, we have books, sessions, discussions, talks to support and coach teachers that, hey, your job is not just the textbook, your job is more holistic, more 360 degree. I didn't have that. Yet, was I a very compassionate teacher? Extremely. Did I understand children going through other needs, children who need special attention? Yes, I did. How did I support them then? I supported them by giving them an extra hearing. I would talk to them, I would understand them, I would explain to them, then with the limited knowledge that I had. And if you will recall, because Jamshedpur was a very, very small town, I think outside of school hours also, we were always available for the children.
yeah.
You need an extra help, you need me to help you with this, you need me to answer this to you, we will do
You
it.
were always available.
20 years later, I am more equipped with the right tools. But then it was, hey, I am there for you. Again, on that note, I remember, a deep grief, I would say, that I carry is it was the glorified exam paper distribution day, where we would give the exam papers to the children to see how they have fared. And unfortunately, on that day, everything depended on that score that we would put on top of the exam sheet. 58 out of 100, 75 out of 100, 35 out of 100. That was the only thing that was there in that paper. Unfortunate, 28 years later, when we think about it, you've done so much of studies and academics. You probably have a greater and a more deeper understanding of the fact that that score is not defining, but then that was the defining point at that time. We distributed the papers. It was the last period. After that, the bell rings and we are all walking out of school. And I am walking out of school, probably chatting with you as we are walking out. And this kid comes and calls and tells me that I got 38 out of 100. Will you give me +2? I told him, no, I can't, because that's what you have got. And he says, you please give me +2. Otherwise, my parents will be so upset. You have no idea. I cannot go back telling my parents that I have not done well, that I have not passed. Please give me that +2. I didn't. And I think within a week, 10 days, the kid felt very ill and he passed. He's no more there with us. Whatever be the reason, I carried that pain for a long, long time. I carried that guilt for a long, long time, that giving him to wouldn't change his wouldn't change my life, wouldn't impact the school negatively because it was a class exam. But probably it would have made a world of difference to his little world at that point in time. So, yeah, those are big and small memories that keep haunting me once in a while, especially when I was raising my own two boys, extremely different. I was raising two boys who were like the first row of the classroom, academically oriented, very focused, wants to know, wants to learn, and the back of the classroom, who at the first given opportunity would want to run out and play tennis and football. So then when you get into the shoe of the parent, you realize what the kids go through. I have joyous moments such as, children running back because they don't want to miss the English class, and you have tears rolling when I am teaching Wordsworth. And then you have moments such as this. It's such a potpourri and so rich in itself.
That is exactly what a teacher's life is all about. It's a big bag of emotions, right? So now let's take a step outside the classroom doors and look at the bigger picture. So from where you stand today, looking at the Indian education landscape, what's the one challenge that you believe needs urgent attention? And if you were handed the keys to make that change, how would you start rewriting the story?
First, I'll tell what is good about the Indian education system before we go into what are the opportunities. The strength of the Indian education system, I would say it's a strength co-shared by the Indian parenting system and the education system. Somewhere, we teach the children to be extremely hardworking and toiling. Borderline struggle. But we train them to be very, very hardworking. And therefore, probably we see the presence of the Indian youth globally. That hard work, that grit is always pushing them forward, is making them push forward. So that's the strength that I see. But the weakness that I see, Indrani, because of this constant academic pressure that we put in them, are we taking away the curiosity to learn from them by burdening them with 10, 11, 12 subjects right from their, middle school to high school days? And none of the subjects are light-weighted.
True.
They are all intense and heavy.
Very heavy.
The teaching method is always very binary, right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong. You got this right, you got this wrong. You got this correct, you got this incorrect. So that binary method takes away the curiosity to learn. Hey, I want to know more. Hey, I am curious. Why did I go wrong in this? What is the error that I have made? Is it even possible to, considering the population of the country, the number of students in the class, the ratio of student to teacher? I love literature. I am educated in literature. My degrees are in literature. But if somebody who is a 15-year-old kid has decided in his life that he wants to pursue medicine, or he wants to pursue engineering, or he wants to pursue economics, or whatever his chosen subject is, or geography for that matter, or music, or whatever, how important is it for him or her to give that same amount of attention to studying Wordsworth, Keats, Shakespeare, if it does not interest him? Well, if it interests him, it's fantastic. It's a win-win. But for kids who are genuinely not interested, we are still pushing them into learning something that is complex, that is exhaustive. And then at the end of the day, we are doing a very binary correction between what is right, what is incorrect. not having the time to explain to them that, hey, you went wrong here, and therefore you need to improve or correct or uh, do something better the next time. As we have grown older in life, as we have seen multiple challenges in life, I think both you and I, if there is one life lesson that we have, is that there's never a failure, there's always a learning.
Always.
When you and I, we moved to the Western skies, it was a struggle. But today, when you look back, you see that none of it was, hey, I give up. But you've gone back, you've learned so much that now you're working for a bigger cause, a greater cause. So it's a learning. But when we were teachers, I don't know how effectively I was able to give this message to the children. Did I have enough awareness that this is a key message that needs to be given? Probably I didn't, because again, we were growing up as we were becoming teachers.
Yeah, true. And we were
And
learning.
are the teachers, but I hope and pray that at least the teachers today are doing it because of all the awareness around that. Education is not as binary as we make it seem. Now, again, I'll take a small example, a small story, not an example, a small story from a friend here whose child goes to the middle school, the fifth, sixth grade here. And we were visiting them, and he comes back with his math worksheet. And he had got it incorrect. So instead of scratching it out, the teacher wrote in the back of the sheet that tomorrow come back with an explanation, step by step, identifying where you went wrong. And then we will discuss. It was very, very interesting for me. And I felt it's a very positive thing that instead of just scratching it
and leaving it on the child to think, not
yeah,
to,
or not saying,
right,
I've gone wrong, move forward, let me go to the next sum.
right.
Not giving child the opportunity
Opportunity to
to
correct.
think, yeah,
Think
where did I go wrong? I think these are these small little things that I feel that can be improved in the Indian education system, the bulk. I remember, Indrani, when you and I, we were teachers, there was a lot of conversation about the weight of the school bag.
Yes, of course.
So
Yes.
metaphorically, the weight of the school bag is an implication of the weight of the education.
Education, true.
As teachers, we knew that the classroom is diverse. And within that 30 minutes, 40 minutes that we are in the class, one of our tricks was how I will manage the diverse set. But education as a whole, we don't always regard the diverse needs of the child. I don't know if it is a possibility. I do not know. But bring back the curiosity, lessen the weight and the exhaustive details that every subject requires and calls for. And teach children that while you learn from a hit, you learn from a miss too.
True. And you just said about diversity, it's true because it's very difficult for a teacher with 45 to 50 students in each section, taking care of each and every child, their problems and challenges, knowing fully well that the syllabus is again vast, time is a constraint. So as a result, the curiosity in a child to know something becomes a challenge for the child. And if the child doesn't ask, the teacher doesn't get to know. So life continues.
So a teacher in a classroom managing 50 children, she herself is very limited in her ability to be more creative.
Yeah, it's difficult.
There has to be a change that is cascaded from the top.
Yeah.
Only then will the teachers, only then probably, Indrani, I think that teaching will become
Fun.
a choice.
A
fun
choice.
and
Choice, of course. This is something I was discussing with another guest. How many children in this generation would love to become teachers? I remember asking my students, none of them raised their hand. And when I told her, she teaches the plus two students in Surat, right? So she went back and she asked her students. And she was surprised. She got back to me and she said, yes, Indrani, what you said was right. Nobody raised their hand. So this podcast is basically for that, to increase visibility about this profession. No profession is as beautiful as this.
of course, it is, you are 100% right. It's very human in itself,
Very
the
human,
profession, very
extremely.
human. Um, and while, the traditional meaning of the word teacher is somebody who's teaching you, but it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You learn every day. You may not realize it under the pressure of syllabus, lesson plan, managing 50 kids, etc. We may not be learning it every single day. We may not be coming home with a light bulb moment every day.
Yeah.
But it, just as our teaching has somewhere impacted the kids in their journey, our learnings from them, it has impacted us in our journey. It is unfortunate that young boys and girls, they do not want to choose that as an option because they're always seeing the other side of teaching. That is, classrooms, students, corrections. You are like constantly on the beat, one after the other, one after the other. And while in a corporate journey, there is always a carrot by the name of a promotional ladder before you. Typically, in a school setup, in a school structure, that visibility is not there. You are a middle school teacher, maybe you'll spend 10, 12 years being a middle school teacher. You will have added responsibilities coming here and there. So that carrot is not there, the carrot that is there in the corporate world.
True. True.
But it is a gold mine here. And we are not able to position it for all its worth and value to the current generation.
Great.
So it is up to, great educators like yourself who have taken it as a mission.
A lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done.
And
True.
I am so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you are doing this. It's there are people like me who have disconnected from the school, and we've disconnected completely. And only when there is conversation like this that I am recollecting my memories, and I am speaking, and I realize, hey, there is so much there.
Yeah.
And then there are people like you who are still holding it close and wanting to tell the young people, hey, let's become teachers. Let's create positive impact.
So, Sush, you've given such rich reflections, beautiful views, and I really enjoyed the first segment of the podcast. So now it's time to shift gears, right? So let's leave the deep dives behind and jump straight into Quick Spark. So this is our signature chit chat rapid fire. No right or wrong answers. So the rule is you just need to keep it short, fun, and let's see if I can surprise even you along the way, right? So there are
I'm ready.
wonderful.
Let me take a sip of my coffee.
Yeah, please do that. Please do that. Because it's your
Now
early
I'm ready.
morning. It's your early morning. So you
Yeah.
need to kind of get ready to play.
Yeah.
So the first question. First thing you miss about the classroom.
The energy.
Energy. Great.
The energy.
Great. One corporate phrase that would sound hilarious in a school staff room.
I want it done like yesterday.
Can you imagine the reactions of the teachers if someone actually said that? Because everybody's so relaxed in the staff room, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying having tiffin or chatting or correcting, and suddenly someone comes and says that. Great answer. Third question. Coffee in the staff room or coffee in the boardroom? Where does it taste better?
Um, Coffee in the staff room, it's full of, as we say, chutzpah, lots of fun, lots of discussion. Uh, and coffee in the boardroom is more deadlines, targets. So, coffee in the staff room.
Right. Great, great. Fourth question. The Shakespeare play that could be turned into a corporate training module.
Definitely Julius Caesar
Wow.
comes to my mind because it is all about power and leadership transition.
Yes.
It's about Caesar's rise to conspiracy, aftermath. They all mirror the corporate power struggles and the hierarchy. So, Julius Caesar.
That's a wonderful example. Right. Fifth question. One skill you mastered as a teacher that became your corporate superpower.
My journey as a teacher, if I will put it in a phrase, is like building a giant Lego masterpiece, one colorful brick at a time. So I think that's what we do in our corporate life also. Giant masterpiece. We are a part of that and we are building one brick at a time.
A subject you would add to every school curriculum.
In middle school, team activities, team sports. But as we transition from middle school to high school, most important thing, how to file your own taxes, how to be aware of your finances, how to manage your finances must be taught.
Next question. One school event you think every corporate team should experience at least once.
The fun days, which we call the Children's Day, the Teachers' Day, the prize night day, the concerts. I think that's something where you keep your laptops and your baggage in the boardroom, you come out and you have pure, unadulterated fun.
Yeah.
So that is something that all corporates should do once. And strictly no shop talk at the event.
The eighth question, your favorite poet?
My favorite poet would always be Wordsworth. But if you will ask me about my favorite poem, which I think stands true, is Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm deeply influenced by that poem. And probably somewhere again, I will use it for both you and I.
Life.
We've always chosen the roads that are less crossed and less
taken. True.
Less taken.
Okay, ninth one. One life lesson your students taught you that still helps in board meetings.
That the bad news is time flies, but the good news is you are the pilot. So have fun, put in your right effort, and things will work in place.
Wow. Now we come to the last question of the rapid fire round. And I'm sure you love this because it is all about sports. So if teaching were a sport, what would be your winning move?
Stay calm and focus.
Great.
Stay calm.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hey, Sush, you've got 10 upon 10. So your report card shows that, Sushmita, you've got 10 upon 10. So we've laughed, we've raced through these 10 questions, quick fire moments, and we've uncovered some fascinating snapshots from your journey, your experiences, or perspectives, and I truly enjoyed the rapid fire round. But before we close, let's pause, step away from the speed, again back to stillness. And this is a final segment, My Teaching Mirror. It's a space to look inward because every teacher, whether in a classroom or on campus or far beyond it, carries a personal metaphor that reflects who they are at the core. So Sushmita, if you had to choose one metaphor, be it a lighthouse, a bridge, a tree, or a flower, or anything, or maybe a musical note that captures your life as a teacher, what would it be and why?
So as I mentioned to you a moment back, the metaphor that I would use to describe my journey as a teacher, and I will try to probably explain why I think so, is quote unquote like building a giant Lego masterpiece, one colorful brick at a time. I just mentioned that's the metaphor. And the explanation that I would give is, for 12 years, it was a journey that was a mix of imagination, patience, figuring out things as you go, learning, growing as you go, snapping pieces of knowledge into a place, connecting ideas, fixing what didn't fix. It is one of a kind creation, shaped by every lesson, by every laugh, by every aha moment that we crossed along the way. And at the end of the day, it's a continuous process. It's like me handing over the baton to somebody else, and now somebody else is building that same Lego block one piece at a time, one color at a time. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Beautiful. Very well spoken. Very, very well spoken. And so those insights were more than just answers. So all your answers were much more than just mere answers. So they were basically windows into the heart of each and every teacher that I can think of. So you've reminded me that teaching is not just about delivering lessons, it's about shaping lives, carrying stories, and leaving a part of yourself in every student you meet. So on this Teacher's Day, I wish every teacher a very happy Teacher's Day. And it feels even more special for me to have you open the doors of the Teacher's Lounge with us. So your journey from the classroom to the corporate world demonstrates that no matter where we go, the lessons we give and the lessons we keep continue to guide us. So my dear friends, if you enjoyed this conversation, do share it, because stories from educators and teachers are treasures that deserve to be heard far and wide. They remind us of the power of mentorship, the beauty of learning that remains for life, and the quiet ways in which teachers change the world every single day. So Sushmita, thank you for sharing your spark, your laughter, your reflections, your views with us today. They were amazing. And I think I got to know a lot more about you than I've ever known you. And to everyone listening, may we all remember that a teacher's influence doesn't end at the school gates. It echoes in every choice, every challenge, and every change we embrace. So until next time, this is Indrani signing off from the Teacher's Lounge, where the stories of educators live on long after the bell has rung. Bye-bye.